to send this to send a payload of Lego up to the International Space Station. So we had our Lego City Space Shuttle, and we thought we'd like to send this up because it's the most iconic model that kids know, and to really learn about space. Now we started to look into some interesting facts about it. We found out that, say, for instance, the payload is the size of the school bus. So we made a little Lego school bus, which we can fit into the payload bay. I don't have it right now, but we have a school bus we can fit in the payload bay, and we'll have the crew members on board the space station showcase this. So we decided what else could we do when we're developing products for kids on the market. We have to keep it really simple and iconic. So we have one set with a rocket, one with a space shuttle, one with a small satellite launch, and one with a lunar rover. But for this educational program in space, we decided to push it a little bit more and to teach kids more about models for the astronauts we talk about. So we wanted to teach kids about how it is in space, how an astronaut lives up there, what's it like up there, and to keep it very, very simple. We wanted to get to the widest range of kids, but for what we do best in Lego City is kids aged about 5 to 12 years old. And for kids like that, doing complicated experiments wasn't really our area of expertise, so we took on board Lego Education as well, who will appeal to older kids in schools. And they've developed whole curriculums around this. So I can, for instance, show you, they have this model, which is a hammer. And I'll put down the mic and show you for a second. What this does, you have a little axle in the middle, and when you pop the hammer, it hammers it down into the model. So we thought, imagine to send this to space and to see what happens. What's going to happen is going to just blow away. So as part of the educational program, Lego Education have been developing a curriculum all around these models. So that, for instance, you see in space that the hammer just floats away. So what do? You have to develop some kind of mechanism so that the hammer will stay and will go up and down. So it's all about teaching the kids about life in space and microgravity and what's happening out there and what are the consequences on Earth, what are the differences. One other model, which is, we made a huge model of the International Space Station, which is one of the first models which will be built hopefully during the Endeavour stay of the space. And this model, because it's so huge and the solar panels, the solar arrays stretch out all above the top of the model, it can't even support itself on Earth. So I designed this model and I built it, and I could almost never put it together unless I had 4 people helping me to connect all the solar arrays. But normally when we're developing a product, we will not be able to do this because it's what we say an illegal build, because the model's going to fall apart. But in microgravity, it doesn't matter because it's floating in space. And that's something we really wanted to show. We really wanted to keep this in there because that's what it's like on the real space station. The real space station can't support itself. And our Lego space station can't support itself on Earth. But when it's floating in space, then it works. So we also went and we developed some other models which are interior sections from the space station. So we have some experiment benches here. We have the exercise area, the treadmill, weightlifting. We have a Hubble telescope and about 5 other satellites. We did the satellites once because, again, we wanted to teach young kids like from ages 5 to 12 have just very simple things about life in space. So they know there's satellites up there, but they don't know what to do. So we made 6 replicas of real-life satellites, such as a radar satellite, GPS satellite, a weather one, and it's just like the crew will build these satellites up in space and literally just talk about it. To say that here you have the solar panels and you have the radar dish, and just show the key points and the key areas of interest, so it indicates what these models actually do in real life. The same goes for the space shuttle. The reason we want to send this up, we want to show kids backgrounds, such as the motors at the back. You need motors, you need like rocket motors on a space car, so it's a very simple principle. It's something that really young kids can grasp. They need a big engine, so we want to show that. Also, it's a cargo carrier, it has a cargo bay. So we wanted to show the Canadian Army, and just tell kids that we have this in the space. It's needed to transfer satellites out into space, transfer cargo onto the International Space Station. Let me see, yeah, what we also want to show you is how we're going to build these models up in space. This is an example of one of the building guides the crew will have up there. They're not our traditional building guides that you can see, which are animated and cartoon style. What we have here is bespoke ones which we made because the models, for the most part, will be glued in chunks. Because you're going to have thousands of Lego bricks floating around in the space station. So, say for instance, this model will be just like the cockpit will be one section, the wings will be one section, the tail will be one section. So, for this one, we have 14 to 50 steps of how to assemble. Well, of course, we also want to show how this is built in space. So we are taking a very small satellite, and this is a satellite that we're giving away as a promotional item, free for kids as well. So the kids will have this satellite, and the crew on the space station will have the satellite. And they will have a building race. So we're going to have video links for all of these activities on the website called RecoSpace.com. And on these videos, for instance, you will see the crew building the satellite, and it'll be timed. And then the kids in school or at home will build a satellite and time themselves and see what are the differences, while the crew narrate how it is to build, what is the difficulties for that. And then at a later stage, we're taking out the milestones, which I don't know if you noticed, but they're very complex robotic system. So we've also developed specific Mindstorms models. Pretty windy outside. We've also developed specific Mindstorms models which will be going up at a later stage, which we're going phase 2. And we're going to have another set of curriculum especially for these models. So I think that pretty much sums up what we're doing, and we really want to focus basically on teaching kids of all ages about life in space, about space travel, and just to inspire a new generation of scientists and astronauts. So like for like these simple models, we're just showing the icons just to get really young kids involved, to spark that interest, because we know they have that interest. And I know like you guys, if you had the chance when you were really young, and your kids to learn through Lego rather than learn through books and through writing, I'm sure you'd like to do that. Yeah. So that's what we want to do. We know like this is something where we can engage the kids and to really teach them about space in a simple and fun way, and then take it into the schools when they're like to the older kids, take it into schools and to like just make it fun to learn about it. So, yeah, that's something. Any questions?